This week on Music Worth Buying, we're going to be checking out Free Yourself Up by Lake Street Dive.
And Call the Comet from Johnny Marr.
Hey everybody, this is TJR. I'm a musician and a music writer.
And this is Robert Kinsler, and I'm a music writer and a musician.
And of course, we're both here again, as always, to discuss albums that we've recently discovered that we're excited about and we want to share with you, and we hope that you will want to add to the soundtrack of your lives. And I'm going to start with just a really tremendously enjoyable album by Lake Street Dive called Free Yourself Up. This is their second full-length album. They have released some EPs prior to this, but this is their second full-length album here. And this is my first exposure to the band. I have not heard any previous albums or releases, although I did check out some of their YouTube videos as research while getting ready to talk about this album. Let me first talk about the band here. They are Rachel Price on lead vocals. She also, I understand, plays guitar and ukulele. We've got Bridget Kearney on bass guitar. She primarily plays upright bass. She also does play keys and vocals, and I've noticed, is mostly the primary songwriter in the band. Her majority of the songs are written either by her separately or her collaborating with the other band members, but she is the primary songwriter throughout. Okay. And then we've got, if I say his name right here, Mike Calabrese, hopefully I say it right, on drums. But I understand he also plays organ. He does some organ on the album, and he does vocals. And then we've got Mike Olson, who plays trumpet, guitar, keys, and also contributes vocals. Recently joining the band is, and once again, I hope I say this name right here, Archie Burmis. Hopefully I've said that right. If I've butchered any of this, my apologies. Who has recently joined the band as a keyboardist on tour in 2017, and has joined them for this album as well. And all the band members are the children of musicians, which I should add. They've all been playing music, their instruments, since they were quite young. While I mentioned earlier about doing research on them, their cover of the Jackson 5's I Want You Back, which was filmed on a street corner, has had over 5 million views. Wow. After hearing this album and reading more about them, I checked out that video. I recommend, and that might be a good starting point for you, would be to check out that video. The band themselves have described themselves as kind of the term, and this is their words, not mine, but as the Beatles and Motown decide to have a party, is how they've described themselves. I call them a very strong, soulful vibe mixed with very muscular rock and roll. I think that fans of 70s rock and soul will certainly enjoy this album. I've said enough. We're going to play a track that was written by the bassist entitled Tell 'Em I'm a Good Kisser. Here we go.
The thing that we did it work out just the way that you wanted it? After it all.
You know, on a first listen, and I know for a brief second I go, it kind of sounds like contemporary country, but then it's like, then you hear the soul and the R&B. Kind of, as we listen to more of the track, it almost reminded me of Grace Potter. You know, kind of style. Yeah, Sue, I know, has also kind of been one of those artists that's kind of blended a number of genres. But yeah, I believe you said her name's Rachel Price. She has a fantastic voice.
Vocals,
yeah, really good voice. That definitely jumps out at you.
She's probably the first thing you'll notice is just that spectacular voice of hers, that very powerful voice of hers. I think, though, underlying that is Bridget Kearney, who is the bassist, whose bass playing is remarkable. The more I listen, she really stands out. And of course, she is also the primary songwriter in the band. She's involved with every single song as far as the writing many of them on her own, and at times, you know, co-writing with the other band members.
And it sounds like that this is kind of what many artists have done now. They don't play like a strict style of pop or rock or R&B and so on. They kind of, some of the artists that are, they're more challenging themselves and listeners to kind of mix these different styles and make it into something that's their own. Which I think that it's, and this is my first listen. I've heard of Lake Street Dive, have not heard them before, but that's what I'm hearing out of this on this first listen.
I should make a correction. The song is actually called Good Kisser, not Tell 'Em I'm a Good Kisser.
Good Kisser.
But when she belts that out,
yeah.
Tell 'em I'm a good kisser. You know, you can't help but think that.
Right.
I'm sorry. But yeah, the song is just called Good Kisser. And to me, this song is very indicative of a lot of what you're going to get when you listen to this album. This strong, I call it rock and soul. There's a strong emphasis on very muscular guitar. When I say muscular guitar, muscular rock and roll, I think of like Bruce Springsteen. There's this strong influence on soul and R&B. And you know, I love the little keyboards in there, the little soulful keyboards in the background with the electronic keyboard. And it's very infectious, and this plays out from track to track to track to track. It's, you know, it's all killer, no filler. As far as packaging, this is put together in a mini vinyl gatefold. Here we have the interior.
Very nice, yeah.
Here's the back. It comes with a booklet here. The booklet does feature all the lyrics, and very easy to read.
Yeah, we like that. We like when you can read them.
Very distinct, yes. Especially as we get older, we like that quite a bit. But yeah, everything's very well put together as far as that nice little booklet. And we will check out another track here. This is a song called Shame, Shame, Shame. And I'm not going to say more. Let's just play it. Here we go.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Thanks.
Another one's about to fall down. Shame, shame, shame. Shame, shame, shame on you. Every place that you travel, another one's about to fall down.
Yeah, that's even more interesting than the first track that we heard. Yeah, what I like about that is how it has you know, very much of a gospel feel to it, especially with how great the voices blend and stuff. But perhaps because what you told me about the bass playing, you really hear how great the arrangement is and the musicianship, the little elements that they're doing there. For, you know, a lot of times music today, and I know we've talked about that, can be more straightforward and not very interesting. It's almost like if you're a really good musician, it's almost like you're not encouraged to even add anything to the proceedings. They're able to do that while keeping just the structure of the song. You know, it's very infectious and all that stuff, but there is a lot going on there, and it makes you want to hear it again, definitely.
Yeah. They're all stellar musicians in this band.
Yeah.
And like the best of stellar musicians who are doing, you know, pop songs. These are pop songs infused with rock and soul.
Right.
But when you have stellar musicians playing this kind of music, they make it all seem very effortless. That what they're doing, it just takes no effort at all, when clearly it takes a lot of effort.
It does.
To do what they're doing.
Yeah.
And this song kind of starts, when I first heard it, it reminded me a little bit of the two hit singles, Missing You. I think it was it John Waite?
It was, yeah.
And then there was Every Breath You Take by the Police.
Exactly.
A little bit, there was a little bit of similarity to them, and I'm not saying it's plagiarism, it's just a little bit, it reminded me a little bit of it. And because it has that same kind of straightforward beat that kind of goes in as an undercurrent. But then near the end, the song modulates and shifts and becomes this gospel revival at the end.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And just how they get into that section is interesting. It almost sounds like, you know, the way that it almost sounds like it's a modulation. It probably is.
Yeah.
But just how they get to it, they don't take a very narrow approach. I mean, it's obviously very sophisticated, like you said, and it's. I'm glad you kind of pointed it out to me, because you hear it and you go, "Wow, that's pretty incredible!"
Yeah.
What they just did, and again, that's not something you hear a lot of young musicians doing today on you know, kind of these commercial recording.
Yeah. Well, like I said, they've all been playing since they were kids.
Yeah.
They've been studying music since they were kids, and this is what you get. You get extremely talented players like this doing really fresh, fun music. Every song on this album is great, and these songs become more infectious with each listening. So definitely check this one out.
Yeah, very good. Okay. Yeah, thanks for bringing that in.
Glad to. What do you got here? You got someone that we are both familiar with.
Yeah, familiar with. Actually, I've brought in the third solo album from Johnny Marr. and it's called "Call the Comet." I think everybody probably has at least heard of Johnny Marr because he was in the Smiths. Yeah. Now, the Smiths broke up way back in 1987. Hard to believe, more than 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And since Johnny Marr, helped the Smiths carve out this really incredible sound with his unique guitar stylings, this guy has had one of the most diverse and far, ranging careers I think anyone could imagine. He's played with the Pretenders, Modest Mouse, Talking Heads, also with Neil Finn of Crowded House fame, even composer Hans Zimmer. There's a live performance release that came out on DVD and Blu-ray, and Johnny Marr performs throughout much of the performance with the orchestra. I mean, this guy has seemingly done it all and stuff. But I'm telling you, one of the most incredible things is he was at the age of 49 and a half, he released his solo debut. I mean, imagine that after, he was in his teens when he got started with the Smiths. So here he is, almost the age 50, puts out The Messenger in 2013.
Good album.
And blew me away. And now his third album, he continues to push the envelope. He develops more than ever that he's a fantastic singer. And, of course, his guitar work is just, off the charts. Great. And, what? Why don't we listen to a little bit of, now that I've, this big build-up, let's listen to a little bit of Hi, Hello. And that's one of the great new songs off Call the Comet.
Cool. So yeah, I enjoyed the last two albums also, of course. You turned me on to them. On this show, you would bring them in. I'm like, oh, you let me hear this? Oh, this is great. I like this. And last night, I had no clue you were going to talk about this album here. I had no clue. But last night, I stumbled across this. Oh, he's got a new album out. I wonder if Robert's heard it. I started playing it last night. I immediately started digging it. I'm already sold on this album, but go ahead, please. Opine.
No, I chose this song to play first because this one, of all the songs on the album, I think there's 12, reminds me the most of a song and a sound that the Smiths would have done. Yet it doesn't sound like he's knocked off one of the Smiths songs. In part because he's developed so much as a singer. His guitar work, the layers and the stuff that he puts together, the fusion of how his rhythm work and his lead work, almost like there's a seamless blend of that. Like a lot of great guitarists, you think, oh yeah, he's going to do a lead solo. It's like Johnny Marr's style is kind of almost maybe like the edge in that, that it's like you don't really say, oh, that's a lead solo or that's a rhythm section. It's almost like it's just
textural.
It's textural, and he's such a master at it. In fact, I pulled out a quote back in 2010. Phil Alexander, who was the editor-in-chief of Mojo, described Johnny Marr as quote, arguably Britain's last great guitar stylist, and I couldn't have said it better myself, because there is a sense that when you're hearing with somebody, and it's so amazing that he developed it so young in life, and yet he's been able to build on that as he's gone through his career, and it's like now that he's embarked on this really successful, late life solo career, this stuff is just amazing, these songs, and in the lyric, I know we're going to talk about the album artwork too, but the lyrics are interesting because I don't necessarily always know what he's singing about. Maybe but it gets you to think, and he's just a real interesting songwriter too, as well. And let's talk a little bit about Call the Comet, because this is just a beautiful album. You can see the cover there, and it's a mini album gatefold, right?
Yes.
TJ always sets me right on the terminology. But what we really both like about this, there's two things. One, the CD itself comes in a little sleeve, so it doesn't fly out. You can see it here. We love that.
Always appreciate that.
So hopefully your CD's not going to be scratched or damaged. And then it comes with a great booklet, very easy to read lyrics, which we both also appreciate. Just great, and gives you the information on who the musicians are, where the album was recorded, and all that good stuff. So it's just a really nice package. But, the songs are what sell it.
Yeah, thanks for explaining your choice for that song. If I had brought this album in, that would not have been the first choice I would have made. But now I understand what you're going for, because you're more familiar with the Smiths than I would be. I would not be as familiar. In fact, I didn't know who Johnny Marr was until you brought in the first album and explained it to me on the show. And now I'm really glad I've discovered him and have discovered, you know, these albums thanks to you. I really appreciate that.
And when you see him live, and I've seen him once just at Coachella, but he does do some of the Smith songs, and on those he does, when he sings the Smith songs, you know, he doesn't sound like Morrissey, but the same inflections and some of the things, he does try to capture those, because I think he goes, hey, the audience wants to hear those Smith songs delivered in that way. But when it comes to his new material, his original material that he's done for his third album and the two previous albums, I mean, he's his own man. He's his own artist. And you realize it does give you an appreciation of what he brought to the Smiths. But then you say, even if the Smiths had never existed, I would contest that he would be a great artist. Like if these songs, if he had come out when he was in his 20s, I think he could have been ever bit as successful, because his guitar work is so masterful, and it has this unique.
The songs are good.
Oh, the songs are great, and his style, and he's a great singer too himself. Really, and you know what I wanted to do now is play the last song in the album, and this doesn't sound like a Smith song at all, at least to my ears, and it's called "A Different Gun." And let's go out listening to a little bit of that song.
All right. That's another just wonderful, spacious, ethereal rock song. Really enjoyed it. I'm fascinated by your choices. You've gone with the more, I don't want to say slower, but just the more mid-tempo, more relaxed songs. If it had been me, I would have gone with the more aggressive songs, because there are plenty of aggressive songs on this album.
And he's great at that. Yeah, and you know, it's so hard to, you know, because we're only getting to share a little bit of the music here. Yeah. But I just like this one because it really showcases. I mean, his guitar work is obviously just stellar, like it is everywhere on the album. But you know, his voice is so beautiful here, and he has so much confidence as a singer, as he should, because he has a great voice. There's that beautiful part where it almost sounds like he probably is singing in a falsetto, and it's so seamless between his full voice,
his chest voice,
to his head voice, and he's just so confident. And there's such a you know, it all supports the music, all supports the guitar work and everything else happening as far as the musical tapestry. He can be his own man, but he can also kind of fit in and find out, okay, what works for the song and the style of music. You know, he's just a really special artist.
It's a rare guitarist that can do that.
Yeah, it really is.
You usually find one that can they can do the one or the other.
That's right.
But they can't do both. I've only just discovered this album last night. I'm personally looking forward to hearing it more. Just like I want to keep listening to more of the album I brought in today.
Yeah, I want to hear that one as well, too. I'm looking forward to hearing that, too.
Yeah, but I'm looking forward to hearing more of this album, too. Everybody, have you heard these albums yourself? Have you checked them out? Tell us your thoughts, if you like these albums or not, and share your thoughts. We're interested in your feedback. As always, if you like what we're doing, please hit the like button. Please hit subscribe, and be sure to click that bell icon so you can get notifications on when we make new videos. We always want to share new music with you, and we hope you want to discover it. So please join us and share our videos on social media. And until next time, I'm TJR.
And I'm Robert Kinsler.
Have a good day. Take care, everybody.
See ya.
Bye.